Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Corby Gage, the Executive Director of Coastal Housing Partnership, and with us today is Kim Pasgage, who is the Program Manager for Coastal Housing Partnership. We're delighted you could join us. The format for today's webinar is we're going to spend about the first 20 minutes talking about the housing benefits that are available to you as County of Santa Barbara employees and showing you how you can take advantage of those and use those, and also how to navigate through our website a bit. After we go through that, we'll take some questions. So please put your questions in the Q&A. Kim will be monitoring that, and we'll be able to get your questions answered. After that, we explain the benefits. Once we do that, then we're going to go into kind of a mini home buying webinar where we're going to talk about navigating the home buying process. So you're welcome to stay on for that. We encourage you to do that if you have time today, and join us for that. It just gives you a little bit of information about how to get started, and even if you don't think you're ready to buy a home right away, this is good information for you to have so you can kind of figure out a game plan. So I encourage you to stay if you can. We're going to be recording today's webinar, so if you do have to jump off and would like to have a recording of this, we're happy to send it along to you. So let's get started. So Coastal Housing Partnership is a nonprofit organization. We've been doing business in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties for about 35 years. And our goal is to help local employees reduce their housing costs, regardless of where they are in the housing cycle, and also to help them create a path to home ownership. We do that through a number of housing benefits. We do home buying education, home buying savings, refinance savings, rental housing assistance, as well as a rental search site. I'm going to go through each of these benefits in a bit more detail so you can understand how you can use these programs. All of these benefits are available to you as county employees, and there is no charge to you to use those. So please, anytime you think your housing situation might change, please check out Coastal Housing and see if there's a way we can help save you some money. So a rental benefit. We work with a number of local landlords that offer reductions in the rent for our member employees. If you are renting a studio or one bedroom, there's a savings of $600 a year. If you're renting a 2-bedroom or more, there's a savings of $900 a year. This is a great opportunity for you to save some money, and it's not just the first year of your lease that you would save this money, but as long as you continue to lease from that property and you continue to be a County of Santa Barbara employee, you will save on each year that you're there. So it's a nice savings on an ongoing basis. There's also, you can save money on your moving costs if you're using a professional mover. We work with Move Green, and they will take 10% off the cost of labor and supplies. So there's a nice savings there for you as well. I should mention on the rental benefit that you can find the landlords that we work with on our website. It's coastalhousing.org, and you click on rental benefit. It lists the landlords that we work with. This is for new leases. So if you are already leasing a property that is managed by one of the participating landlords, it's not something we can make retroactive. It's on a new lease. So, but you would just let the landlords that you're working with, a management company, know that you're part of Coastal Housing Partnership and you're looking for units that are eligible for the rental discount. So the rental search site, this is our newest program, and Kim is the program manager for this site. And this is a great opportunity for you to find rental properties in Santa Barbara County and Ventura County. It is a site that is only available to the employees of our member companies. And so the way you would access this is to use your County of Santa Barbara email address to access the site. You would register for the site using your County of Santa Barbara email address. The site is rentals.coastalhousing.org, and this will put you onto a page where it'll say register, and then you go in and register from there. So the great thing about the site is that you can put in different search criteria, number of bedrooms, location, whether pet friendly, whatever you're looking for, you can put that search criteria in, and then the site will give you properties that meet that search criteria. And if you save your search criteria, if you are looking for a property and a property comes on there after you've left the site, you'll be notified by email that there's a new property that meets your search criteria. So it's a really great site, and it's a great way for you to find listings in Santa Barbara and Ventura County. And Kim, as our program manager, does a great job keeping this site current, as well as when you sign up for the site, she'll reach out to you and see if there's any way that she can help you in terms of identifying properties that might meet your search criteria. So you'll see Kim in the screen there, and she's great to work with. We really appreciate her dedication to helping local employees get into rental housing. So our home buying benefit, if you're purchasing a home, whether that you are a first-time home buyer or a move-up buyer or downsizing, whatever your situation is, if you're buying a home, we can help you save money on your closing costs. Generally, you can save about 50% or more on your closing costs. The way that works is these savings come from contributions from folks who are part of your home buying team. And if you're working with professionals who are in Coastal Housing's network, they're going to offer savings on the cost of their services. So that home buying team would include a real estate agent, a home inspection company, lender, perhaps a residential developer if you're looking for a new property, and then also the moving services we talked about earlier. So there's some nice savings, and like I say, it's at least 50% or more on your closing costs. Closing costs are in addition to your down payment, so sometimes they're a bit of a surprise. So if we can help save you some money, we're happy to do that. Here's an example of how that works. This is a $600,000 home purchase. If you're using a lender on our list, they'll save you at least $500, typically the loan processing fee and the credit report fee. I like to be conservative in this example. So this is generally the minimum that you're going to save from the lender. Some of the lenders will just waive the appraisal fee, or they'll take off a flat $750, whatever. You can check out our website. You would go to network partners, and there's a directory, and it shows the savings that they offer. So that's a great savings there from the lender. There's a savings with the home inspection company. And if you're buying a home, definitely you want to be doing a home inspection. This is an opportunity for you to get a really great second look at the home that you are have made an offer on. You're going to have a professional come out and look at the condition of the home. They're looking at things that are pretty well hidden to lay people. So they're going to be looking at plumbing, electrical systems, foundation, the roof, all of those things that are not just cosmetic, and will give you a report if there's deferred maintenance or things that need to be repaired or replaced. Sometimes these can be big ticket items. So this is a really important report for you to have. And the home inspectors that we work with will usually offer at least a 10% savings on that home inspection. The home inspection fee will vary depending on the size of the home. So this is just kind of an average savings that we're putting in here. The real estate agent. Now this one's a little different, because if you're working with a real estate agent, the buyer's agent or your agent is paid for by the seller. So if you have an agent working for you, you're not paying the agent. The seller's paying both the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. So this is not a discount. This is just going to be cash in your pocket to put toward other closing costs. So here's how that would work. On a $600,000 home purchase, the agents are typically making about 2.5% each. So the seller's agent makes 2.5%, and the buyer's agent's making 2.5%. So 2.5% of 600,000 is $15,000. That's going to go to your real estate agent, and 20% of that they're going to credit back to you, or $3,000. So now you have $3,000. It's going to go through escrow, and that's just going to be credited to your closing costs. So that's going to be a really great savings for you. Again, it's not a discount. It's just a credit that comes to you and you can put toward your other closing costs. You can see in this example, if you're using all of, the lender, the home inspection, the real estate agent, you can save about $3,500 on your closing costs. As the price of the home goes up, your savings is going to go up, because particularly with the real estate agent savings, because that's based on the home purchase price. You can use any of these benefits, or all of them. It doesn't matter. So say you have a friend who's a lender who you're using, that's fine. You could still take advantage of the home inspection and the real estate agent savings. So it's up to you what you use. Obviously, the more you use, the more you're going to save. So, and all of those companies that are listed on our website. So you can find out more about the home buying benefit on our website by clicking on benefits and then home buying benefit, and more about the network partners by clicking on a list of network partners. So home buying webinars, you're going to get a peek at a home buying webinar today. We're going to talk kind of a mini home buying webinar, but we offer educational home buying webinars all the time. And we go through kind of the steps of the home buying process, how to navigate getting a loan, talking about credit scores, how loans are priced, types of loans. Do you need a 20% down payment? How do you work with a real estate agent? All of these things we cover in our home buying webinar. You can come to those webinars live, or you can reach out to us and we can send you a recording of a past webinar. If you want to hear something, pretty, depending on your time frame. So, and as I mentioned, we will go over this kind of a shorter version today. And this is just a lot of great information. And sometimes just, lack of information about the home buying process can be a bit of an obstacle to buying a home. So we want to remove that barrier for you and just give you the information that you need to feel confident taking those steps, as well as coming up with a game plan for going forward on your path to home ownership. We also have an online home buying education tool. So if you want to check out our website, you would just check out, you would click on home buying education, and you would find this path to home ownership tool. So it's broken out by, depending on where you are in your process. Maybe you're still just trying to decide, do you want to buy a home? So you would click on pros and cons. What's involved with buying a home? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Or maybe you've already selected your lender and now you're ready to choose a real estate agent. So you click on number 4 and you figure out how to, select a real estate agent. So what we've done is we've gone through a lot of the information that's on the internet. There's so much available, and we've tried to narrow down what's important for you to know, as well as giving you links to additional information if you want to go into a little deeper dive in some areas. But that's a great tool for you to be able to just, check out and work on your own. So our network partners, as I mentioned, there's a list of our network partners on our website, which is coastalhousing.org. So you can check them out. You can also, if you reach out to us, we can send you a listing of all of those network partners. And there's also a number of Spanish-speaking lenders and agents that are listed on our website as well. or we can send you that list if you want to reach out to us. The mortgage refinance program. So we have working with dozens of local lenders that offer savings if you are refinancing your mortgage. So definitely reach out to us, find out who we work with, and you can get a nice savings, generally between $500 and $1,000 on your refinance. A lot of folks are refinancing now, so we want to save you some money if you're in the process of doing that or thinking about refinancing down the road. So who is eligible for this program? Any County of Santa Barbara employee is eligible. It doesn't matter how long you've been employed at the county, and it doesn't matter what your position is. There's no income restrictions, and as long as you're working with one of our network partners or number of our network partners, you can save money in that area. The savings do not come from Coastal Housing, they come from the network partners, which is why it's important that you check out that list and make sure you're working with someone in our network. Now, specifically for the purchase program, this applies to any home that you find in Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, or San Luis Obispo County. It can be a condo, townhome, duplex, mobile home, single family home, whatever you find, you can use the program to help you buy that home. And as I mentioned, it's not just a first-time home buyer program, it's for anyone. And you can be using the program whether you're looking at a market rate unit or an affordable unit. So if you're even thinking about buying a home, please check out the program and see if there's a way we can save you some money. All you need to do as a County of Santa Barbara employee is get a letter of authorization, and that's available on the homepage of our website, coastalhousing.org. There's a square there, it says letter of authorization, and you click on that and you can fill that out online and submit that, or if you'd rather not do it online, you can print it out and send that to us. All of the questions that we ask we just keep data on who we've helped in the aggregate. So there's no right or wrong answers there. We just, because we're a nonprofit, we do keep that data. So please fill out that application and then we will send you your letter of authorization. That's the letter that you provide to your network partners to let them know that you are eligible for the benefits. And it's wise to let the network partners know right up front that you are part of Coastal Housing Partnership, and just remind them that you're eligible for the savings. And sometimes, periodically we'll have someone drop out of the program. So if you're working with an old list, or we just want to make sure that you're working with someone who's current, which is a good idea to just identify yourself as part of Coastal Housing Partnership. Okay, so now we have time for some questions about the benefits, and encourage you to ask any questions you have. Kim is going to be monitoring those. You see any questions, Kim?
I've answered a few in the chat and put some of those links there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in. You can be anonymous, or you can.
So we have someone raising their hand, so we can't, because it's a webinar, we don't see you, and we can't have, the only way we can communicate with you is through the Q&A or the chat. So if you would put that information in the Q&A or chat, that would be great. We can respond to that.
Oh, so yeah, one of the questions is someone is wanting to refinance their home. So that's great. We encourage you to look at that option. And then can I use this help for my children?
The benefit is available only to you as an employee of the county. If you are purchasing a home with one of your children, or with another partner who is not part of Coastal Housing Partnership, but you are planning to live in that home together with someone who's not part of the County of Santa Barbara, yes, you can use it together. but wouldn't just be available for one of your children to use on their own.
And then someone's asking for a previous recording of our home buying process, and we have that. We also have some webinars coming up. I'll put the link for that in as well.
Yeah, we're always doing the home buying webinars, and we also have a YouTube channel, which has a lot of our previous webinars on there. And we do have a couple of, as Kim mentioned, a couple of webinars coming up. So I encourage you to sign up or check out one of our previous webinars.
Can you buy any house you find, or does it have to be in the list?
You can buy any house that you find in Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, or San Luis Obispo County. So it doesn't matter what zip code it is, as long as it's one of those counties. Doesn't matter the price range. Whatever kind of home that you would like to purchase, we would just help you through our home buying benefit program.
And that includes mobile homes, condo units, so any type of unit that you're looking at.
That's correct. Yes.
Any other? Here's a couple more questions. I'm working for the County of Santa Barbara as a contract employee. Are they still eligible?
Please reach out to Kim or me. So my email address is Corby, C-O-R-B-Y, at coastalhousing.org, or Kim's is Kim.
Jamie's saying that he thinks they do. They do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that they are eligible contract employees.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jaime.
Yeah, all of the employees are eligible. Okay, great. Thank you, Jaime. Hi, Alma. It sounds like you are looking for some guidance, and that you were working with a lender and now they're no longer on the list. And you want to make sure that you're getting the most discounts as possible. I think we would encourage them to go to our award winner list, maybe as a starting place.
So I guess it depends where you are in the process. I guess I would encourage you to reach out to me, Corby at coastalhousing.org. Let me know where you are in the process, and how far along you are. I don't know if you want to switch lenders, or say they used to be on the list. We haven't had too many dropout recently, so sometimes there's someone who they might have changed companies or whatever. So let's check and make sure that who you're working with definitely is or isn't part of the program, and let's see how we can support you there. So sounds like we want to kind of handle this one personally. Happy to do that.
Yeah, some of the lenders switch different companies, so they might be there but under a different company. So
right.
And any other questions before we move on to the home buying section?
Okay, looks like we should move on. If you do have questions or think of something, please reach out to Kim or me. Again, Corby, C-O-R-B-Y, at coastalhousing.org, or Kim, K-Y-M, at coastalhousing.org. And we happy to answer.
I am putting those in the chat for you.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Kim.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get started on our path to home ownership. Hope you can stay with us through this time. I think this will be pretty beneficial. So what's the first step? That's the big question. What's the first step on your path to home ownership? You want to start by getting with a lender first. And sometimes that seems a little backwards. You think, okay, well, I should find the home that I want to buy and then go talk to the lender and find out, how to pay for that. But you really want to start with the lender first. Even if you don't think you're ready to buy for maybe even a couple of years, it makes sense to sit down with a lender and find out how much loan you can afford. Sometimes we have a preconceived notion about the price range that we can afford, or sometimes you'd be surprised with interest rates being so low that you can afford more than you thought you could. So this is an important first step, is to sit down with that lender, have them really go through the numbers with you and let you know what your price range is. Once you know what, how much loan you can afford, you know what your down payment is, then you know your price range. So that's really important. And I know there's a lot of, mortgage loan calculators and that kind of thing online. And those kind of give you a very rough guideline, but a lender's going to give you exact numbers. And that's really important that you know, because there's a lot of factors that go into coming up with that number, what you can afford, that can't be figured into these mortgage loan calculators. So don't rely on those. Sit down with a lender. There's no cost for you to take this step of sitting down with a lender and getting pre-approved. The other important part about sitting down with a lender is you're going to learn about different loan programs, interest rates, just more about the whole home buying process. A good lender is going to be really happy to sit down with you and go through all of this, even if you're not ready to buy right away. They understand this is part of the process. They're going to like the fact that you are, getting, things lined up ahead of time and really organized, and you're going to be, actually the most prepared to make an offer on a home once you've made that step. So you're asking for a pre-approval versus a pre-qualification. A pre-qualification might be something just very simple. You might say to the lender, well, this is how much our household makes. And they'd say, well, based on that, we'd loan you this amount of money. A pre-approval is more detailed than that. They're going to, run your credit. They're going to check your income. They're going to verify your assets. They're going to go through all that. And then that pre-approval is a guarantee that lender is going to loan you that amount of money when you find the home you want to buy. So you can see that's a really strong position to be in. And anymore, if you're trying to make an offer on a home without a pre-approval, it's going to be difficult to get your offer recognized, particularly if there's multiple offers. So you want to have that pre-approval, and that's what you're asking the lender for. As I mentioned, there's no cost to do that. So it's a good idea to sit down with a lender. And I say sit down, you might just be doing the whole thing online, which is great. Anymore, that's what we're doing. But you're kind of virtually sitting down with them and having that conversation and understanding what's going on with the loan process. They may charge you for the credit report, but most of the lenders that we work with won't even charge you for the credit report. But that's very worthwhile to have that credit report, because that credit report is going to be a mortgage loan credit score rather than what we typically are looking at. Say if you have a credit score from a credit card company that you work with, or you have a service, that's going to be a consumer credit score. So you want to know what it is that the lender is going to be working with, and that's that mortgage loan credit score. So it's really important to get your credit score and understand what programs you would be eligible for as well. So this is a really important first step, is just to talk with the lender. So how do you get pre-approved? What is the process with the lender? You're going to fill out an application with them, and they're going to review your income, your assets, your credit, and your debt. And those components go into determining how much they're going to get you pre-approved for. So when they're looking at your income, they're probably going to look for a couple years of tax returns, W-2s. If you maybe have a partner who is self-employed, or you also have some self-employment income, they're going to check that out. They're going to, for assets, they're going to look at a couple of months of asset statements, whether it's bank statements or a retirement account, a stock account, wherever you've saved money. They're looking for where's the down payment coming from. So they're going to look at your assets. Credit, they're going to run your credit report, credit score, and they would only do that with your permission. But as I mentioned, I think that's a good idea to have them run your credit. It does take a little bit off your credit score anytime you have your credit report run, but it's not permanent. It will go back up. And I think it's, might be 5 points or so. It's really worthwhile information to get that credit report done as part of your pre-approval. and really understand what you are eligible for. And then debt. How much other debt do you have? So those are the components that they look at in trying to get you pre-approved. They kind of back into the number that they're going to pre-approve you for, and they do that with a housing expense to income ratio. So the housing expense is your mortgage payment or your loan payment, your real estate taxes, homeowners insurance. If you're getting a condo, it would be your homeowners association fee. That's going to have your insurance in there. And then they'll also put, if you're getting a condo, they'll put a little bit of money in there for an interior coverage policy. It's kind of a little bit like a renter's policy. And then if you are getting mortgage insurance, that would go into the housing expense as well. So, and we'll talk about mortgage insurance in a little bit. So those are the components of your housing expense. They're not looking at your utilities or trash pickup or anything like that. They're just looking at the mortgage payment, real estate taxes, and your insurance. They want to see that number. So that's going to be divided by your gross income. And they like to see that number to be around 40% of your gross income. So your housing expense divided by your gross income around 40%. That number could be higher or lower depending on the loan program, depending on your credit score, and depending on how much you're borrowing. So there's a number of factors that go into that, but that's basically how they're coming into determining what they would approve you for in terms of a loan. So credit is a big part of the process, and it's because it's one of the best indicators to the lender that you are going to pay them back. So you want your credit score to be as strong as possible. That's another good reason to go see a lender now. Is I wouldn't do anything to try to improve my score without seeing a lender, because often the things that we do to fix our score or try to improve our score can send it the other direction. We don't really know all that goes into the credit reporting. Obviously, paying, every bill that you have on time each month, at least the minimum payment, is going to be something that strengthens your score. However, there's a number of things that are, don't really know how they impact your score, like closing a credit card. That could have a negative impact on your score, even though you're the one that chose to do that. So I wouldn't encourage you to do anything to improve your score without talking to a lender. Lenders look at these credit reports all day long. They know what's the thing that might be keeping your score lower than it should be, or something that's hurting you. You might be making some really good financial decisions, but it might have a negative impact on your credit score. So you want your score to be as strong as possible, because the better score you have, the better your interest rate is. So, and as well as the more loan programs you're eligible for. So this is a really important part of the process, and something that you would work with your lender on to make sure that you are the strongest buyer that you can be. So how a loan is priced. So obviously we focus on the interest rates, and that's what you hear about in the news all the time. But there's three components to a loan price. There's the interest rate, the points, and the fees. So the interest rate is what runs with the loan, and points and fees are closing costs, meaning you're going to pay those fees or points up front before you close on the home. So they're in addition to your down payment. So, but they factor into the cost of a loan. So for instance, a point is a closing cost, and a point is prepaid interest. So if a lender is quoting you a price on a loan of 3.5%, 1 point, that means that they're charging you 1 point or 1% of the loan amount. If you have a $500,000 loan and they're charging you 1%, that's $5,000 that they're charging you upfront for that loan. So a point, well, if it's prepaid interest, why would you pay a point? Why would you spend that money? Because there's a inverse relationship between points and interest rates. So if you pay a point, you're going to pay a lower interest rate for the life of the loan than if you didn't pay the point. This is up to you whether you pay points or not, but you want to make sure that you're comparing all of these, because if you're talking to a lender and they give you an interest rate and another lender gives you another one, if you don't know if they're charging a point or not, you're not comparing those loans evenly. There's also fees, and you want to ask the lender, what are all of the fees? So there's going to be credit report fee, application fee, appraisal fee, underwriting fees, a number of fees. What are the costs of your fees? What's the interest rate, and what are the points? So that's going to let you accurately compare loan pricing. So in terms of these points, as I mentioned, it's going to lower your interest rate. So should you pay points? It's the big question. Partly it depends on whether you have this upfront money, because I mentioned it's a closing cost. You have to come up with this money before you close on the home. So if this money is taking away from your down payment and you don't have as much down payment, it might not make sense for you to pay points. But if you have the money and you're just trying to decide you pay points or not, you would want to ask the lender to show you an analysis. What are going to be your payments with points and your payments without? So let's do just a quick example. If you have a $500,000 loan and you're paying points, maybe 1 point, you're paying $5,000 for that point up front. Well, as I mentioned, that's going to have a lower interest rate. So maybe you're saving about $1,000 a year with that lower interest rate. So to get to a break-even point by having paid that $5,000 up front, you're saving $1,000 every year for 5 years. Now you break even on that point. If you continue to own that home and stay in that loan, you're going to continue to save $1,000 every year beyond that. So if you're there for another 25 years on a 30-year loan, you're going to save another $25,000. So that's a good decision. If you are planning to sell the home after, maybe it's a starter home, you think you might only be there for 3 or 4 years, or you think you're going to refinance your loan, it might not make as much sense to pay points. If you just plan to be there, have that loan for 3 years, you pay $5,000 for the point, then you're there 3 years, you save $1,000 every year for 3 years. You only are getting $3,000 back on that $5,000 investment. So that probably wasn't going to make sense for you. So again, have the lender run you numbers with points and without points, see how long it takes to return that investment, and see if that makes sense for you. But in order to compare loan rates, you do need to understand, you need to ask the lender, what are your interest rates, what are your points, and what are your fees? So types of loans and loan terms. The loan term is the length of the loan. So if you have, most first-time home buyers are getting a 30-year loan. The reason for that is you're borrowing a lot of money and you have to pay that principal, or what you borrowed, you have to pay that back over the loan term. If you were to have a 10-year loan, you'd be making a very large principal payment every month, and you wouldn't be able to afford as large of a loan. So your loan term is the length of the loan. So if you have a 30-year loan, it means that you're paying the principal back over 30 years. And at the end of that 30 years, you don't owe anything on that loan. You'll see interest rates that are lower on shorter term loans. So if you see a 15-year loan and you go, oh, that's got a better interest rate, I'm interested in that. That is true, but your payment's going to be larger because you're going to have a larger payment of principal every month. So you want to think, is that something that you can afford? Does that make sense for you? So then types of loans. The types of loans are going to be a fixed rate interest rate loan or an adjustable interest rate loan. So now this, depending on which you go for here, is going to depend on your risk tolerance. You have, if you are getting a fixed interest rate loan, it means that for the length of a loan, if you have a 30-year loan, you're paying the same interest rate and the same payment every month for 30 years. So there's no interest rate risk for you. But that's a fixed rate loan is going to be priced the highest. That being said, interest rates are really low right now, so it's still, probably a pretty attractive thing. But this is all going to depend on you, your risk tolerance, your plan for the property, how long you plan to be there, what's happening to your income. Is it growing? Are you on a fixed income? There's a number of things you're looking at, whether you decide to go with a fixed rate loan or an adjustable loan. But a fixed rate loan doesn't matter what happens to interest rates in the market, you're going to pay the same interest rate for the life of the loan. An adjustable loan is going to be just that. It's going to adjust. The interest rate on that is going to adjust if interest rates in the market go up. It's going to be tied to an interest rate index. And if that index goes up, your interest rate will go up. So if you do look at an adjustable loan, that's going to be a lower interest rate to start with, which makes that very attractive, but it can adjust. So you want to understand what could happen to that loan over the life of the loan. So the lender will give you a printout on what would the worst case scenario for that loan. So there's generally some caps on the interest rate adjustment, and there's timeframes on when that loan can adjust. So those are all questions that you would ask the lender. How frequently can that loan adjust? What's the maximum that it can adjust every time it adjusts? Can it go up just 1% a year? Can it go up every 6 months? How frequently can it adjust? And how much can it adjust each time? And what's the cap over the life of the loan? So what's the worst that can happen to that interest rate? So you want to ask them what the payment's going to be. They can print that out for you and show you what your payment would be in worst case scenario. So whether you choose a fixed rate loan or an adjustable, again, that is up to you, your risk tolerance and what your plans for the property are. But you want to understand that, so when the lender's showing you choices, you're going to know what's involved with those. So do you need a 20% down payment? No, you don't. And particularly valuable in this market where our housing prices are more expensive, to not need a 20% down makes it that much easier to get into a home. So you don't need to feel like you have to save for that. Obviously, if you have 20% down, that's going to give you the best financing. But oftentimes people feel like while they're saving for that down payment, prices of homes are getting away from them. So if you want to get in with less than 20% down, there's a lot of options for you. The reason that 20% down is kind of that norm is that from the lender standpoint, that's gives them a level of certainty that you have a good chunk of investment into that property, and you're probably not going to default on that loan. So you're less likely to default on your loan if you have 20% down. So when the lender lets you come in with, say, 5% down or 10% down, it's a riskier loan for them. So they're looking at ways to protect themselves. One of those ways is mortgage insurance. So if you're getting, say, you coming in with 10% down and you have 90% financing, the lender will say, great, but we want you to make a mortgage insurance payment. That mortgage insurance is not for you. It's not for your family if you lose your job. It's for the lender. So if you default on the loan, the lender gets paid off. So you're making premium payments every month, and then the lender benefits if you default on the loan, but allows you to get in with a lower down payment. So private mortgage insurance is going to vary depending on what your loan amount is and what your credit score is. A number of things are going to factor into that, but it's usually 0.6 to 0.8% of the loan amount for mortgage insurance, for private mortgage insurance. Another option is a piggyback loan. So that's going to be 2 loans. You're going to get an 80% first loan. And then if it's, say you have 10% down, you can do 80% first loan, 10% second loan, and then you have 10% down. So the second loan, it just means that it gets paid off second if you default on the loan. So that's a riskier loan for the lender. There's generally a higher interest rate on a second mortgage. But this allows you to get into a home with less than 20% down and not pay mortgage insurance. So you might look at this and say, does it make sense for me to pay mortgage insurance, or does it make sense for me to pay a little higher interest rate on that second mortgage? Those are options, just choices. FHA loan, you can get in with 3.5% down. You want to be alert to the fact that the mortgage insurance is significantly higher with an FHA loan, and it does not go away. With private mortgage insurance, once you get 20% equity, you can talk to the lender about getting rid of that mortgage insurance. You only had to pay for it because you didn't have 20% down or 20% equity. As you pay down your loan, which you do every month when you are making your mortgage payment, and as the prices of homes go up, you're building equity. So once you get to that point of having 20% equity, you can get rid of the mortgage insurance. With an FHA loan, you can never get rid of the mortgage insurance. It doesn't matter how much you pay down that loan. So it's also quite a bit more expensive to get FHA mortgage insurance. So you want to look at that, see if that makes sense for you and understand those additional costs. It is 3.5% down, which is nice. You don't need as high of a credit score to get an FHA loan, but there are significant additional costs around the mortgage insurance. A VA loan for veterans, there's a great loan with 0% down. There's an application fee, but there's no mortgage insurance, and it's a great opportunity for you to get in with 0% down. So if you are a veteran, I would encourage you to get with a lender that knows how to do VA loans and is really comfortable with that product. There's a lot of other low down payment loan programs. So I would encourage you to talk to a lender about that. And that might be one of the first questions you ask if you know you're not coming in with 20% down, is you can say, do you have a number of low down payment loan options other than just the FHA? So you want to talk to a lender that has some choices for you. So now that you've gotten your pre-approval, you've worked with your lender, it's time for you to get a real estate agent. A lot of agents won't even work with you if you don't have your pre-approval yet, because they know you don't know your price range. So it's important that you don't waste your time or set your sights too high or too low based on the fact that you don't have that pre-approval. So once you get that, then you can start working with an agent. And I highly recommend working with an agent. A lot of people think, oh, I don't need to work with an agent. I'll save some money this way. And generally, that's not the case. They bring a lot to the table, particularly in this market where we're seeing multiple offers on most properties, particularly entry-level properties. So it's a really good idea to have someone in your corner. So we talked about earlier, there's no charge to you to have that agent working for you. And if you're working with one of the agents on our list, they're actually going to give you some money toward your closing costs. So highly recommend working with an agent. And it's really important that you communicate throughout this process with your agent. Let them know, what your price range is, what your must-haves are, what your wish list is. And as that changes throughout the process, because you might find that your priorities change as you go through the home buying process, and finding out that, oh, wow, having that extra, that third bedroom costs quite a bit more, and maybe we're willing to go with a 2-bedroom. Let the real estate agent know that, because there might have been some properties they would have shown you if they'd known about that different criteria. So it's really important that you have a good connection with your agent, and that you continue to communicate with them, and they'll continue to provide you with properties that meet your needs. If you're looking in a couple of different areas, so for instance, if you can't decide if you want to purchase in Goleta or Ojai, it's probably a good idea to have different agents in each of those markets looking for you. Because those are pretty different markets, and you want an agent that really knows the area that you're interested in and knows that pricing. You would never want to work with, say, 2 agents in Goleta, because that's not going to be serving you well, and it's not going to be a good idea for them too. So, but if it's very distinct markets, then it's not a bad idea to have 2 different agents working with you. So now is time for questions. It looks like we have a number of questions, Kim, that have come in. So happy to answer those for as much time as we have. And if we run out of time, here's our contact information. We encourage you to reach out, or if you have a question that's really specific to your situation and you'd rather not ask in this more public forum, please reach out to us by email. Kim, what are you seeing?
Actually, we don't have some new questions.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet, but feel free to put those in
Okay.
the chat or questions. Yeah.
I guess I'm seeing a number of things in the chat. That's probably from before and things that you put in there.
Yeah.
So great. Okay. So yeah, we do have some time left in our hour. So if you do have questions, please put them in the chat or reach out to us, and reach out to us at any time. Oftentimes, you don't know what questions to ask because you haven't started the process. So once you start the process, you might have more questions. We are there for you to help you through the home buying process and kind of guide you, hold your hand, whatever the need is, we're there. We don't make any money on your transaction. So we're not trying to push you into anything. We don't have a vested interest in whether you buy or not. We want to make it easier for you if that's something that makes sense for you, as well as help you try to evaluate if it does make sense for you to become a homeowner. But there is a lot of information out there, and we want to try to help have you be the most competitive buyer you can be.
Someone is asking about the county program that helps with the down payment. It's a loan up to 100K possibly.
I'm not, Jaime might know more about this if it's specifically a county program, but there is, through the Housing Trust Fund of Santa Barbara County, there is a second mortgage available. And that is, if you're buying on the South Coast, it's basically like a down payment loan. And it's a great loan option. So you would check out the Housing Trust Fund of Santa Barbara County and to find out more about that loan program. You can use our programs, closing cost programs, alongside that loan down payment program, and they work well together. So if that's something that you're eligible for, that's a great option.
And then someone's asking what South Coast means geographically.
Oh, South Coast is from the county line of Ventura, so kind of Carpinteria through Goleta.
And I put the Housing Trust link on the chat. So. Oh,
great, thank you. Yeah, and your lender should know about that loan too. Most lenders can work with that loan, but if you are working with wanting to do that, make sure your lender has the capability to work with that loan.
Anything else? Don't be shy.
Okay, well, it looks like that's probably it for today then, but here is our contact information. And we look forward to helping you on your path to home ownership. And thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Michelle. You're asking if there's any way to contact your realtors. And yes, that link has all the realtors and their contact information in our network. The link is above here.
Is she saying she's wondering if her real estate agent is part of the list or wanting to be part of the list?
Is there any way to contact your realtors?
Oh, our realtor. Okay, yes. Yeah, so Kim will put that link in there. It's under our network partners. And if you reach out to us, the other thing is if you apply, put in for a letter of authorization application, we're going to send you a list of all of the agents and lenders that we work with. So that's another way to get that list.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Enjoy your afternoon.